Welcome back to my channel. Ito, sobrang napapanahon to. Ito yung mga issues dun sa flood control projects. And we usually hear na meron ng mga freeze orders na ini-issue para ma-freeze yung mga bank accounts ng mga involved people, including politicians. So ito, magandang tanong to. Pwede bang ipa-freeze yung bank account ng nagkakautang sa atin? Para magkaintindihan tayo, pag sinabi nating debtor, siya yung taong nangutang. And pagka sinabi naman nating creditor, siya yung nagpautang. So just a reminder, this video is purely for educational purposes only. Huwag nyo ititreat yung mga videos ko as legal advice. If you have an actual case, better consult a lawyer near you. So tapusin nyo lang din itong video na to kasi baka mamaya yung mga kasagutan ng mga hinahanap nyo, ma-discuss din natin dito sa video na to. But before we proceed, just a quick plug. I also run an anti-scam campaign and I publish my ebooks about this. So, if you want to purchase, just click any of the links below. Pero if hindi nyo sure kung paano mag-avail or merong error dun sa link, just send me an email at lawyer.courses@gmail.com. So, the relevant law na i-discuss natin is the Anti-Money Laundering Act. Initially, Republic Act 9160 siya, pero ang dami ng amendments. And the most recent is Republic Act 11521. So, dalawang provisions lang yung itatakel natin dito and very basic lang yung discussion para hindi po kayo maguluhan. So, first provision is unlawful activities or tinatawag na predicate crimes. Kasi pagka any of these unlawful activities is present, okay, that's the time na si Anti-Money Laundering Council can file a petition sa korte para ma-freeze yung account ng isang tao. So, ito yung mga unlawful activities as amended. So, the next provision is Section 10. Ito yung Section 10, pero ang madaling sabi lang dyan is if si Anti-Money Laundering Council na-determine na merong probable cause that any monetary instrument or property is anyway related to an unlawful activity as enumerated earlier, the Court of Appeals may issue a freeze order. So, ganito na lang, hindi natin tatalakayin ilang months yung freeze order. Kasi baka mamaya, pagka napanood itong video na to, na-amenda na pala yung batas. Pero dito sa Republic Act 11521, ang maximum is 6 months. So, based on the foregoing discussion, walang freeze order pag yung nangutang hindi makabayad or hindi talaga magbabayad. Kumbaga, walang plano magbayad. Pero, hindi tayo dyan nagtatapos. Merong ibang remedy. Yan yung i-discuss natin. Yung remedy na yan is the preliminary attachment. So, basic lang tayo. Total lawyer naman yung gagawa niyan. So, kunwari, idedemanda mo si debtor. So, magpa-file ka ng complaint for collection of sum of money and application for a writ of preliminary attachment. So, ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng preliminary attachment? So, ito yung preliminary attachment as explained sa isang Supreme Court ruling. Okay? So, sa madaling sabi, yung properties of the defendant o yung dinidemanda mo, yung debtor, ang tawag na sa kanya, defendant, may be levied upon and held thereafter by the sheriff as security for the satisfaction of whatever judgment might be secured by the attaching creditor, yung nagpautang, against the defendant. Ang purpose niyan is para si debtor, hindi niya ma-dispose yung property as attached. Para pagka nanalo talaga si creditor, ay meron siyang masisingil pa rin from the debtor. Meaning, halimbawa, umpisa pa lang ng case, gusto mo siguraduhin na meron kang makukuha kay debtor once manalo ka. So, halimbawa, si debtor merong ari-arian, so pwede mo yun i-attach. Or halimbawa, merong bank deposit si debtor, pwede mo yan ipag-garnish. Pagka sinabi mong ipag-garnish, yan nga, isang way yan ng pag-a-attach para si bangko, hindi niya na, or ma-hold niya yung pera ni debtor at hindi ma-withdraw ni debtor para, yan nga, security for the satisfaction of judgment in case na manalo nga itong si creditor. But ito, tatandaan nyo, although ikukonsulta nyo naman to sa lawyer na kukunin nyo, ang preliminary attachment kasi, ang common requirement dyan is that the debtor has the intent to defraud the creditor. So, by way of example, ayaw magbayad ng utang ni debtor, and ang ginawa ni debtor para wala kang mahabol sa kanya na property is pinangalan niya yung property sa nanay niya. Basta meron kang patunay dyan na may intent to defraud itong si debtor, so itong preliminary attachment may be available. So bukod dyan sa security na may makuha pa si creditor in case manalo siya sa kaso, may other purpose ang attachment, and that is para magkaroon ng preference si creditor na siya yung unang mabayaran ng utang in case maraming creditors na naghahabol dito kay debtor. Or kaya magkaroon siya ng preference doon sa property bago pa mabenta ni debtor yung kanyang property. So ganito na lang, para mapaliwanag ko sa inyo, let's discuss the case of Chua versus Honorable Gutierrez. Ito ay 2010 case. So ganito yan. Tandaan nyo yung mga dates ha. So spouses Chua bumili ng property kay Benito Chua noong July 20, 1994. Pero itong bentahan na to, na-register lang to noong January 5, 1995. In the meantime, itong si Tak Tek Sing noong November 11, 1994, nag-file ng collection case with prayer for issuance of writ of attachment laban dito kay Benito Chua. So, noong November 15, 1994, nag-order ng preliminary attachment ang trial court. And noong November 18, 1994, natatakan yung titulo ni Benito Chua, itong Notice of Levy on Attachment. So, tandaan, November 18, 1994 yung tatak ng Notice of Levy on Attachment, pero yung registration ng sale between spouses Chua and Benito Chua, January 5, 1995 lang. So, that's the time lang na na-register. Mas nauna yung attachment. Ngayon, question to ni na spouses Chua kasi daw, nung na-attach yung property, mas nauna daw na benta sa kanila ang property. Pagka sinabi daw mas nauna, pertaining to July 20, 1994 transaction pa. Okay, hanggang sa makarating na tong case na to sa Supreme Court. Hindi na natin itatakal yung mga nangyari dito sa lower courts, dito sa Regional Trial Court, sa Court of Appeals, para hindi na kayo maguluhan. So, yung issue lang naman dito sa case na to is whether or not yung registered writ of attachment is a superior lien over that of an unregistered deed of sale. Ibig sabihin, mas matimbang ba ang registered deed of attachment kesa yung unregistered deed of sale? So, ang sabi ng korte dyan, no deed can bind the land or effect as a conveyance if not registered. So, sinite dyan as basis yung Section 51 ng PD 1529. So, ito yan. Ipa-flash ko on the screen. Dagdag pa dyan ng korte, so kahit malipat pa yung titulo sa ibang tao, basta nauna yung attachment, halimbawa, na-annotate yung attachment, maki-carry over lang yan, or makokopya lang yan yung annotation na yan from the old title papunta doon sa bagong titulo. So, ito yung in-explain ng korte. Okay, so that ends our topic today. Sana marami kayong natutunan, pero pagka meron kayong mga need i-clarify, pwede naman kayo mag-comment below. But as I said earlier, if meron kayong actual case and gusto nyo nang i-pursue, then hire a lawyer near you. So for now, please like this video, share this with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and do not forget to hit that notification bell icon para ma-notify kayo ng mga next videos ko na i-upload. Thank you very much.